Hello, we're going to talk about headhunting very quickly. So the majority of the headhunt call, you've got to remember, it's the language you use is not just the words you use. 7% of what you say is the words you use, 38% is the tone, and 55% is the body language. So to give an example, the tone you use is 5 times more important than the word. So really focus on the tonality and the emotion that you want to get across. So one of the massively important things here, you've got to create a vivid picture in an individual's mind. You are essentially the headhunter, a professional storyteller. If you can't get that individual to really imagine being in that company or being away from their current company, you're not going to get the level of interest there. You've got to create excitement. And again, little old tip: motion creates emotion. I'm not talking about you waving your arms and going mad at all, but I'm talking about putting your hands in the power zone, as it's called, and maybe using your hands a little bit like a politician or something like that as well. And then we try to work, or we will work, in sprints and purple patches. If you make a headhunt call in a purple patch, you will be 400% more likely to get a number than if you don't. What I mean by that is work to a 1 hour sprint. Have everything planned, but make sure you're hitting a minimum of 8 calls. That's 8 people picking up the phone, saying hello, and eight pitches in an hour. If you don't do that, you are, as I say, 400% less likely to get a number. What that means is, on average, you're going to have to make anywhere between 21 and 30 calls. I can do it in about 12 or 15 calls or dials to get through to those 8 people. Now, that's because of the gatekeeper. You've got to make sure you're getting around the gatekeeper in a certain way. That's a whole different session, but very quickly, active a level of authority and make sure that you're going and just getting past them because they think you're an important people. Plan. Plan is, it's one of the most simple but most important thing. Have those people on your desktop, on your laptop, already ready to go. Make sure that you're picking up the phone before you're even looking at their LinkedIn profile. Click on their LinkedIn profile once you're on the phone. Bear in mind, 1 in 3 of the people you're trying to call are actually only going to pick up the phone. So if you're planning for 1 or 2 minutes for each one, you're killing 5 minutes in between each call by just not being prepped well enough or trying to over prep in this instance. You're never going to hit a sprint of headhunt calls without having everything in front of you, without having your desktop view sorted, and without clicking on people or clicking on people too quickly or not having them already prepped. And again, hooks, plan your hooks. You're going to be making sure you're only doing one job per sprint. Don't be, trying to headhunt 5, 6, 7 different types of people or 5, 6 different roles here. So you'll have your hooks, your major USPs in front of you, and make sure you know your pull factors. You've got capital return, you've got your salary, you've got your growth, you've got your awards, you've got your markets, you've got the you've got the environment, you've got the story of the business. Not everything comes down to money at the end of the day. It's a really naive and one-dimensional pitch there. If you just pitch on salary and commission, of course it's important, but the story behind it is way more important. Then finally, control the pace and the tone of what you're doing through pitches. Slow down on the bits that you need them to remember and speed up for the bits that aren't really that important. You've got 30 to 50 seconds to get your point across. You've got to be in and out and get your point across. So if you think a particular commission structure is super important, like a 50% commission structure, it highlights itself by just slowing your tone down, maybe seeming a little bit more relaxed and going from there. Also, profile. It's no different to LinkedIn messaging. It's no different to selling anything to anyone. Make sure that you're profiling every single person you speak to. If they look relaxed, be relaxed. If they're using relaxed and casual language on their profile, again, use that casual language. If they're using formal language, use formal language. And also, have 3 pull factors. Everything we sell is in 3. We know the power of 3. It's really super obvious. But again, when you're headhunting, we all know that some people get overexcited or whatever it may be. So 3 fingers, 1, 2, 3, dead simple. Now let's look at the structure of a headhunt call. It starts off with a start, has a middle and an end. It sounds really simple, but it's very, very, very easy to forget once you're in the emotion of it. So the introduction, if you think it's 30 to 50 seconds, should be no more than 5 to 10 seconds. Very clean, very crisp. Then it's your 3 pull factors. Then it's your close. Have a presumptive positive close. The opportunity you're selling is so good they want to hear more about it later on. So And finally, within this as well, before I do a mock headhunt call, respect the fact that at the desk often, acknowledge the fact that at the desk. So if I'm going to do a very simple headhunt call, it would lead off by saying something like, "Hi, can I speak to X? X, it's Daniel calling from Ion Search." I'd then invite them to have say something back to me. I'd say, "I don't know, how are you today?" Well, great, whatever, we'll move on. I don't know if you know Ion Search, but we're an award-winning recruitment company, and we specialize on, in this instance, let's pretend it's a leadership role. We specialize on leadership roles, and at the moment, we're going to retain mandate for someone like yourself. Now I'm going to move, that's my introduction, done and dusted. I don't want them really now. They're probably going to want to get me off the phone, so I'm going to go nicely into my 3 pull factors. My client appreciates that the fact, get a good leader is going to cost them money. So they're looking at a 6-figure basic salary package, but also they're looking at a massive capital return with a double-digit equity piece at stake for an individual to perform at a higher level. They respect their talent. So that's number 1. Maybe number 2, they respect their talent in the business, and they want to bring on a leader that really has an opinion and really wants to carve something in their own vision and in their own image. So they want the individual to be forthcoming with ideas and be able to really demonstrate their ability. And final pull factor, will make it a nice soft one. We'll talk about location or opportunities to go abroad or something like that. And finally, the location of the office is in the City of London. However, they've got a New York office, they've got a Frankfurt office, and they've got US offices. And they would be really receptive to leaders that actually want to go out and start alternative and additional offices within the brand and the business. Now the close, dead simple. Let's pretend it's a Joanna. Joanna, I appreciate your desk right now. I appreciate now is not the time to have this conversation. What I want to do is take more time out of my diary, or take time out of my diary to be able to have a conversation with you. Can you do tomorrow at 9 o'clock, or alternatively 11:30? What works best for you? Now I'm expecting a response. If it's a yes, it's a number. If it's a no, dead simple. Get something from it. I appreciate your time, Joanna. Whilst I've got you on the phone, so I don't have to call you about other opportunities or same opportunity over and over again, what would suit you more? What would interest you more? Now, this is going to ascertain whether they're actually interested in jobs and just pitched the wrong job to them, or they're not interested at all. But hopefully, they'll give you some sort of answer. So they'll say, you know what, actually, if you gave me an opportunity in X, Y, and Z, I'd be more open or more interested. Or they can turn around and say, you know what, I'm not interested at all at anything, so really not looking at anything at all. If it's option A, get the number. You know what? We may not have that right now, or we may have it right now, but I'd still love to introduce myself so we can have a further conversation. Number 2, again, I really appreciate that. Both times, get a referral. Every single conversation, get a referral. Whilst I've got you on this, whilst I've got you, is there anyone you know that could fill this particular role? It's as simple as that.